Do you know people for whom cooperation and acceptance with others are so important that they even become so pliant as a result that they put aside their own needs for the sake of the other person? People who wonder what they can do to please the other person. The psychological key to understanding these character traits can be revealed in the tradition of Jungian psychology in the archetype of the lover. In this video, we introduce you to this archetype and its pathological manifestation, the dependent personality disorder, using examples from movies and mythology. And we give you tips on how to successfully deal with the lover's strengths and weaknesses. The lover and the dependent or asthenic personality disorder in 10 points. Point 1. What makes the archetype of the lover tick? The lover belongs to the phlegmatic temperament. The main personality traits of the lover are acceptance, cooperation, as well as compliance. Accordingly, his basic needs are love, friendship, and belongingness. His focus is always on his fellow human beings, especially on those he feels closely connected with, and on their views and needs. He always has in mind what moves the other person, what they need, and what he himself can do so that the other one likes him. He is deeply convinced that he is only valuable if others like him, and that one is only strong in a team. For him, social contacts and his family are the center of his interest and attention, and for him, loving and being loved is the most important thing. All these characteristics can be derived from the personality traits or the so-called meta-programs of the lover archetype, which in turn result from the position and correspondences in the meta-model of the psyche according to Stefan Fiebig. Point 2. His strength. The main quality of the lover archetype is his philanthropy. He's a very good team player, always ready to help and reliable. He has the ability to build rapport and positive relationship with those around him. Point 3. His weakness. Due to his high level of acceptance and due to his orientation towards the opinion of others, the lover archetype tends to be compliant. In order to meet the expectations and desires of those he cares for, he puts his own needs in the background. He tends to seek the opinion of others first before making most of his decisions. Point 4. How to recognize the lover archetype. Since the lover is oriented towards cooperation and acceptance, it is highly unlikely that he will counter something or engage in open conflict, unless it is about support for persons he cares for or he feels closely connected with. He is very oriented towards the people that are important to him, and is always busy fulfilling their wishes and expectations. He sticks especially strong to his family and friends. A good example of the lover's archetype is the donkey in the Shrek movies. After the donkey is rescued by the ogre Shrek, he manages to befriend the grumpy and lonely Shrek. The donkey becomes a loyal friend and companion to Shrek. The donkey even manages to establish rapport with the dragoness, who first wants to kill him. The dragon lady eventually even falls in love with the friendly donkey.
Take a look at me! What am I?
Really tall?
No! I'm an ogre! You know, grab your torch and pitchforks. Doesn't that bother you?
Nope.
Really?
Really.
Oh.
Man, I like you. What's your name?
Shrek.
What large teeth you have! I mean, white sparkling teeth. I know you probably hear this all the time from your food, but you must bleach or something, because that is one dazzling smile you got there. And do I detect a hint of minty freshness? And you know what else? You're a girl dragon. Oh, sure. I mean, of course you're a girl dragon, because you're just reeking of feminine beauty. What's the matter with you? You got something in your eye? Hey, oh. man, I'd really love to stay, but you know, I'm an asthmatic, and I don't know if it'll work out. You're gonna be blowing smoke rings and stuff. Shrek! No, Shrek!
The lover archetype, among others, can be confused with the martyr archetype, whereas the martyr is more concerned with giving to others what he himself thinks is good for them. The martyr archetype tends not to pay attention to the needs of others or what his counterpart wants. In contrast to the lover, whose pathological form is a dependent or asthenic personality disorder, the pathological form of the martyr is the self-defeating or masochistic personality disorder. Point 5. How does a lover react in conflict situations? The defense mechanisms of this archetype are introjection and identification. Here, similar to rapport building or mirroring the other person, behaviors, views or values of the other person are adopted and internalized into one's own self. Point 6. The lover in mythology. The archetype of the lover, like all personality archetypes, is a basic pattern of human experience. We experience this archetype in many myths and fairy tales. We find, for example, Hebe in Greek mythology. She was worshipped as the goddess of eternal youth. She served as the cupbearer. Her job was to serve nectar to the gods. She kept in the background and had a rather subordinate role. In the Norse Germanic mythology we find Lofn. The goddess Lofn possessed the ability of bringing lovers together. He had the gift of helping people to form an intense partnership even when their relationship faced the greatest difficulties. In Tibetan mythology, Green Tara corresponds to the lover archetype. According to the stories, she was born from a tear of the enlightened being of compassion. She is the embodiment of the active compassion of all Buddhas. In modern myths we find the lover archetype as well. In Harry Potter, Colin Creevey is a good match for this type. Sam from Lord of the Rings is also a good example. He accompanies and supports his friend Frodo on his journey to the land of Mordor, where he must destroy the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom.
I'm going to Mordor alone.
Of course you are. And I'm coming with you!
You can't swim. Sam!
Naked in the dark. There's nothing. No veil between me and the wheel of fire. I can see him with my waking eyes.
Then let us be rid of it. Once and for all. Come on, Mr. Frodo. I can't carry it for you. But I can carry you. Come on!
In Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister is a good example of the lover archetype. He is willing to do anything for the love of his sister Cersei. When he is caught with his sister by young Bran Stark, he pushes him out of the window to protect his secret relationship.
The things I do for love.
In Game of Thrones, Samuel Tarly, Jorah Mormont and Lisa Arryn are also good examples of the lover archetype. Point 7. The lover and the hero's journey. In the mythological success structure of the hero's journey, the hero needs the skill of the lover to successfully pass through the 4th stage. In this stage, he has recently entered the world of the adventure. He meets a mentor and must be able to establish a positive relationship with him, because from him the hero will receive the resources and tools to face the challenges that come his way. In any project or endeavor we undertake, we must also seek out the necessary resources. By the way, you can learn more about this stage of the hero's journey in our video series about the hero's journey. Link in the description. Point 8. How can you recognize a dependent or asthenic personality disorder? We have already explained to you many characteristics that describe the personality archetype of the lover, and so it should be easy for you to recognize it. Often it is then even easier to recognize the pathological manifestation because its characteristics are usually more pronounced and have a negative effect. In the ICD-10, dependent or asthenic personality disorder is classified under F60.7. In addition to the features of a specific personality disorder, F6T, that must be present for a diagnosis of a personality disorder, at least 4 of the following 6 criteria must be present for a diagnosis of the dependent personality disorder. Point 1. Encouraging or allowing others to make most of one's own important life decisions. Point 2. Subordination of one's own needs to those of others on whom one is dependent and undue compliance with their wishes. Point 3. Unwillingness to express even reasonable demands to persons one depends on. Point 4. Feeling uncomfortable or helpless when alone due to exaggerated fear of inability to care for oneself. Point 5. Frequent preoccupation with fear of being abandoned or of being left to care for oneself. Point 6. Limited ability to make everyday decisions without an excessive amount of advice and reassurance from others. The DSM-5 criteria are quite similar and therefore not mentioned separately here. Maybe we will make videos about personality disorders later, perhaps in an extra channel. Simply subscribe to our channel and when the time comes we will let you know. Or subscribe to our newsletter, please find the link in the description. Someone suffering from a dependent or asthenic personality disorder is one of the typical difficult personalities. It is usually quite challenging when your boss, a colleague, your spouse or life partner, a parent or child suffers from this personality disorder. So the question arises: how to deal with a balanced or unbalanced lover? Point 9. Here are a few initial tips. To deal well with lovers, it is important not to force them into a leadership role, or to try to make them decide all their decisions themselves. You can more easily win over lovers for something if they can take care of others and they themselves can stand in the background. When criticism is leveled at them, it is important to let them know that they are still liked and appreciated. Since the lover tends to put his own needs in the background, it is important to know these needs and make sure they are met. Just as the lover takes care that the needs of others are met, he needs people who will make sure that his needs are met. To deepen your knowledge of this and all other archetypes as well as to understand their importance in therapy and coaching, business relationships, professional and personal life, you can attend our seminars on personality archetypes. Point 10. How can someone with a dependent or asthenic tendency balance their personality? If a dependent person wants to balance his imbalances, or if a well-developed lover wants to expand his competencies, or if you want to balance your inner lover, it is a good idea to develop the complementary archetype, namely the warrior within yourself. In contrast to the lover, the warrior is not interested in positive relationship with other people, but in confrontations and challenges. You can find more about the warrior archetype in our video about it. Do you see yourself as a lover? Do you know people around you who have these personality traits? What do you find particularly difficult in dealing with these people? Which known real or fictional persons with the characteristics of the lover or those corresponding to a dependent personality disorder do you know? Write us your answer and all your questions under the video. We will make a video at the end of the series in which we answer these questions. We look forward to your comments. If you haven't done already, like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be always up to date. Thanks for watching and see you soon.